Hey guys, how you guys doing? Welcome back to the channel. Thanks for taking the time out of your day to watch this video that I've made for you. So Windows finally got you pissed off. You're like, I got to do something. I don't know what, but I'm going to figure something out because I'm just done with Windows. I'm cooked. I'm baked. What do we do now? Well, you got two choices. You can either continue to put up with Windows after you bitch and moan and throw some type of temper tantrum and be done with it, or you can start looking at some other options. Mac, yeah, Mac's okay, but you need a lot of cheddar in order to get Mac going. Or you could always try Linux. But what Linux distribution should I try? How do I know? Well, it's real simple. All you got to do is try to get into the ecosystem of the Linux ecosystem. There's hundreds of distributions you can try, but I'll tell you what, there's one that's rock solid. It's really, really good for new to Linux users to come to. And you know what? I'm just going to take a look at that one today. We're going to show you exactly what you got to do. First thing you got to do is you got to go download. We're talking about Linux Mint. You go to their webpage and you hit the download. I'm going to show you their webpage so that you can see what's available there. All right, so here we are. We're at Linux Mint, and I'll put the link in the description. It's, I think, linuxmint.org. Anyhow, they have a brand new release out called it's Mint 21, known as Virginia. And what they've done is they've done a lot of work under the hood on it, right? One of the things that they did is they worked on Hypnotics. Hypnotics, for most people that don't realize what it is, Hypnotics is a proprietary program. Well, proprietary. They developed it. They made it. I believe it's open source, but they made it for their to work with their Linux Mint system. It is a way of streaming live TV across the internet, like many different distributions do. You can actually use in this situation if you have an IPTV service, and I had to say it that way so that way I don't get in trouble with the YouTube. If you have one of those types of services, you can actually use it in with this program, and it works flawlessly. I know because I am a reseller of said services, and yes, I've set up people with it. Now, Cinnamon 6.0 has been released, and they've actually what they do is they call add-ons are called spice, like like your applets, your desklets, your extensions, that kind of stuff, themes. Well, they've added some action spices on here, and one of the ones that they've added was in the actual Nemo actions, which is they added the verify and the make bootable ISO disk. When you right-click in the context menu, you'll get those offerings right there for you. In Cinnamon 6.0 actions are now a type of spice you can download, enable, and rate them, like applets, desklets, and extensions. They've added a rating system to it. And then one of the big things is it has a new type of compositor. You may be new to the Linux environment, and what a compositor is it's actually what enables your windows to happen when you open a application or whatever. A window opens up. Well, that's because of the compositor. The compositor draws it, tells it where to go, gives it its dimensions, all the good stuff. Well, Wayland is a new compositor that has come out in the Linux ecosystem, and it is now experimentally available. They've identified that they need to tackle it because it's the wave of the future, as what they're trying to say. And so they've done an experimental version of it in here, but it's not replacing Xorg, they say, in the 21 or the 2021.3 or the 21.2 or 22 version of it, but all the same, they want to get the ball rolling, get ahead of it. So they've enabled the experimental Wayland support in it. Other improvements is Warpinator is now possible. It is now possible to connect to another device manually, either by entering the IP address or mobile. So they've worked out on Warpinator. Sticky Notes, the Notes app received the support for debus commands now. Slick Creator, the login screen, the alignment for the login box is now configurable. Bulky, the patch file renaming tool, receives support as well. Pix video playback now takes the video orientation into account and automatically rotates it. The backup tool, Mint Backup, now features a header bar, excuse me, and an about dialog. And the color picker was added to the XTAP XTG desktop portal. Artwork improvements, of course. Linux Mint features a superb collection of backgrounds, and they, of course, keep them coming. The main components Linux 21.3 features in the Linux kernel 5.15 and Ubuntu 22.04 package base. The LTS strategy. LTS, for those that don't know, means long-term support. They're declaring that they're going to be receiving updates until 2027. So if you are coming from Windows to Linux, because Windows has finally pissed you off enough, well, this is a great place to start at. It's a very solid distribution, has everything that you need. If you just want to get online and do some cool YouTubing and stuff like that, watch YouTube, this is it for you, man. You could also add different components to it in order to play games, like Theme, Lutris, Wine, and Proton DB, Proton compatibility layers, all that good stuff. So there's ways of doing things on here that are just almost perfect. I mean, coming to Linux and from Windows is not as bad as it used to be at all. In fact, it's almost a one for one, especially with the web browsers. You can download pretty much all your web browser. Hell, you can even put in Microsoft Edge on here. One of the things I will tell you is that in the gaming aspect of it, pretty much so a lot of your older games that you can't even play on Windows, you can still play on Linux through the compatibility layer. The newer games that require the easy anti-cheat, some of them work because a few devs have started to write stuff for them, but some of the other ones don't. Rainbow Stage 6, Call of Duty, those kinds, they don't. In the end, you could always put a virtual machine in Linux and run Windows in that virtual machine and still play your games, or dual boot your system if you want with Windows. It works great with that. But I will tell you that it won't be long before that is no longer something to be concerned about in Linux. Every day, almost seemingly, there's a new game that's being made available to Linux exclusively that it works just fine on Linux, even though it doesn't, it works well in Windows as well. So not to worry about that. So let's go ahead and pop over and take a look at Linux Mint. This is us booting up with Linux Mint. Okay, so what we've done so far is we've gone and downloaded Linux Mint from the webpage. We use Balena Etcher, which is a cross-platform, so if you're using Mac, Windows, or Linux, hey, it will burn it just like Rufus to a 8 gigabyte or more. I always suggest getting an 8 gigabyte or more USB thumb drive. You burned it to it, and now you've installed it or plugged it into your computer, booted into it, and the way that you would do that is by rebooting your computer, and then at the flash prompt of your computer manufacturer, you can either hit delete, one of the function keys, something to go into your boot menu. Then you select the USB drive from the boot menu, and you boot into it. And this is what your boot. It'll take its time because it loads into RAM, and then it boots into this. This is what you're looking at. So from here, you would go forward to install, and that's what we're going to do really quick. So what we're going to do first is, because of the way that this looks, it looks kind of, squashed because it's not, 1920 by 1080. So we want to fix that. So we're going to type in display, and we're going to open it up. We're going to set this resolution from 1024 by 768 to 1920 by 1080, which is right here. And we're going to hit apply. And now we have a wonderful resolution that we're going to keep at right here. So we're going to keep that configuration. We're going to close that out. And now we look great. Beautiful, right? Okay, so now we're going to click right up here on this icon, install Linux Mint. Of course, you can take it for a test drive and check out all the different things that there are on it. But if you already know you're switching, just install. Now we're looking at our language that we're going to choose, which is going to be English. We're going to hit continue. We're going to do, for the keyboard layout is English, we're going to do that. No worries. And then, of course, we're going to come here to install multimedia codec. You're going to want to do that, because if you don't do that, then you could have issues with playback and of videos and music and stuff like that when you're on the web. Okay, so we're going to hit continue. Easy, guys. So easy. We are going to erase the disk and install Linux Mint. We're going to hit install now. And it's going to go into the install process. This is giving me a little overview of what it's going to do. And we're going to hit continue. And so now it's going to start the process of doing the actual installation. So now this is, we're going to pick part of our profile. The time zone that is picked for me is correct, Los Angeles. I don't live in Los Angeles, but it's in the same time zone. Now we're going to put our name in. You're going to create your fantastic username and like a super strong password that is not 123 4. And now it's copying the files. As you can see, it had started earlier in the background while we were putting in our profile thing. I'm going to pause the video. It's going to give you a little slideshow, the little detailed offerings of what Linux Mint has for you. But when that's done, then it'll be ready to boot in. So I'm going to pause the video here, and when it's done, we'll boot into it and say, hey. Okay, and it has now finished installing. So we're going to go ahead and hit restart now. That took about 5 to 10 minutes. So we're going to hit restart, and when it's done, we'll boot right back up. Well, wait, no, it might go really quick. So we'll just go ahead and let it do its thing. I'm going to hit enter, and now it's going to boot right back into itself in the virtual machine. And it'll even give you, usually it'll give you a little sound when you're going to log in. So we're going to put in our super secret password that is not 123 4. And there's your sound. And so it says, welcome to Linux Mint. It shows you that you were connected to the internet. And welcome to Linux Mint. This is a nice little welcome prompt thing. It shows every time you boot into it. It tells you first steps to do to, set your desktop colors. It enables snapshots, driver manager. What's really nice about this for driver manager, say you are on a video card or graphics card, and you need current driver support, like NVIDIA or that kind of stuff. Well, you could get proprietary ones, from the NVIDIA webpage, but are also the Novu ones. And this will help you download the right Novu driver. So it's going to look for drivers. It's not going to find anything in here because it's a virtual machine. But at any instance, it can do that for you and help you set those up. Update Manager. This is another one that's kind of important that I want you to pay attention to whenever you first install a system. You want to do the service pack update so that it gets updated to the latest and greatest. Unless it was released yesterday, then it'll be up to date already. But if it's been a week or two old, then you want to hit the update, which it'll launch the actual update manager right here. As you can see, to do your security updates, your software updates, and do system snapshots. So you could do that, and it helps you out very nicely to take care of that. System settings can be managed here, and also the software manager. Now, the software manager is the software store in Linux Mint, where like in Windows, you have the Windows Store. You have the App Store, I think, or I guess it's called App Store in Mac OS. On Android, you got the Play Store. Well, this is the same thing for Linux. If you want to install an application of any kind for whatever reason, you go to the Software Center. And right now, what we're doing with the Software Center, it's taking a minute to do this. It'll always do this at the very first time when you launch it for the very first time. And what it's doing is building the cache. It's getting all the artwork, all the everything for the applications that are available, and putting them together like this. Whether you are on Debian doing this, whether you're on Ubuntu doing this, or Linux Mint, this is what you're going to get right here. So just know that that's what you're dealing with, okay? So that's what this looks like. Say you want to install something exemplary, click on it, takes you here. You get system package or flat pack. You see how this has got flat pack here? Flat packs are containerized. Downloads it, keeps everything into it, all in one container. Doesn't really affect your system at all. So you can choose it. They have Flatpak already enabled. That's very nice of Linux Mint. And you just simply pick which one that you want to do, the system package or the Flat Hub. The system one are the ones that's always maintained by the actual developers. They don't create them, but they maintain them to keep the most current version that works with their system in place. So that way you're guaranteed the best environment for it. Flat packs are usually the most up-to-date because those are the ones that are maintained by the developers. So they are the freshest or rolling release type. So you do system install and then you click install and it'll download it and install. I'm not going to go through that because that is the same as Windows. In all reality, it's the same thing. And then firewall. Firewall is something that you can do to protect your operating system. You can set up firewall. If you need help, you can read about it, that kind of stuff. So there's that. So that's a look at the help or the welcome menu that pops up. Now, once again, we need to adjust the display because that was in the virtual system of the actual live CD environment. which is something that Windows doesn't do. It doesn't allow you to take it for a test drive off just a bootable drive in a live CD environment, whereas Linux does. So now we're going to type in display again, and we're going to click on it, and we're going to adjust it once again to the 1920 by 1080, which is right here. We're going to hit apply, and now we'll have those wonderful graphic resolutions again. So this is Linux Mint at its best. If you're coming over from Windows, and more specifically closer to Windows 10, you should feel right at home with this, because honestly, it looks and feels like Windows 10, Windows 7. In fact, when you click on the menu, boom, here it is, categorized, more like Windows 7. But you have quick panel right here, which are things that are pinned right here, which is your Firefox. This is going to be your hide the menu that goes right back to your desktop. This is your system settings right here. The system settings is kind of like your control center in Windows. Okay, where you can do, like backgrounds, like for your appearance, right? It's categorized. These are different wallpapers that they have. Let's change to this one. What the heck? There we go. We're going to keep it there. Here's Vanessa. Here's these guys. It's like the water one. Vera, all these guys. So anyhow, so you can go there to change that. Oops. I don't know why we opened up the software center. That's what that other one was. Do this. Boom. Sorry, that's what this one was. Is the software center. Let's go back to the settings. So it's like control center. You can do general settings, online accounts. You can adjust what are known as hot corners. These corners can become active for if you go there, certain things happen. Screensaver, hardware, of course. You have administration stuff like driver managers, or login windows, software sources, users, where you can add users and stuff like that. Like I said, the thing that you'll have to realize about Linux is that a lot of your stuff is not as buried into different other menus like you would find in Windows. So you don't have to click one thing to get to another thing to get another thing. You basically click one area and it's all right there. So that's what's really nice about Linux. It's the simplicity of it. So there's that in the launcher. Now, of course, terminal, that is something that you'll get into later down the road. You don't need to really worry about it if you're migrating over to Linux for the first time. At the moment, especially in distributions like Linux Mint, you'll be just fine, not having to deal with it too much. You eventually will have to get into, but that's something not to be feared, okay? You'll learn about it a little bit later on. And then, of course, you got your file manager, which Windows is like your, Explorer, but this is actually, the file manager for Nautilus for Linux Mint. So there you go. And it looks just like your file manager that you would find in Windows, in Explorer. I mean, it looks very similar to it. I mean, the icons aren't blue and white, but nonetheless, they're still icons. They're folders. And if you open them up, like if you go to, there's nothing here. You go to File System and say we open up Boot. Okay, see, you got files in there. See? I mean, it's no big deal. And also down here at the bottom, you can scale the size, to make it bigger or smaller. I don't know that Windows File Manager does that, but either way, so there's that. And of course, the same things are pinned right down here at the bottom, right next to the application launcher. Okay, so now under accessories, things to note. Notes. You got your sticky right here. Is there a notepad? Just like you would have, it's a nice little applet that stays here. You want to kill it, you can just delete it, and it's gone. And it leaves a little notepad to remind you to do something there. Okay, so that's like some of the stuff that you'd find under accessories. Under graphics, you've got the picture viewer, which that is what they said is they improved on it a little bit better. Had some updates done under the hood, so there you go. It's like a regular image viewer. And drawing in document scanner. Under internet, you have Firefox, which is a web browser of choice, which I don't know, maybe you've used Brave or maybe you like Chromium or whatever, but a browser is a web browser. It will browse the web. Some of them are a little bit more secure. Some of them are a little less secure, so to speak. But if that Firefox doesn't do it for you, you can certainly open up the software center, and then you can actually up here in the upper left-hand corner, say you like Chrome. You should be able to type it in, and there's Google Chrome right there, and you can install it just like that. You want Flatpak? It's only available in Flatpak, so you can install it via Flatpak. Okay, say you like Brave browser, just type it up, and there it is. Brave browser comes as a Flatpak. which is very nice. It means it's up to date, has everything new, and also you can see right here where it's coming from Flat Hub. So I mean, I like that they tell you where your packages are coming from. You don't have to go to some random cheesy website on the internet and try to find a package or an executable to install a package. This is reputable. This has been scanned. It's been deemed safe and deemed to work well with this distribution. So you're not going to have any of those hijinks going on where they either install bloatware or possible malware. So that's nice. So anyhow, that's how you can change that. Hex chat is like an IRC client. Of course, if you're used to having your mail, you don't go to the web page, but you got like Outlook Express, Thunderbird. Now, is it a complete knockoff of Outlook Express? No, but it is a mail client. So it's very workable. It's very usable. And if you're coming from that Windows world, then that's a great thing to do. So anyhow, so there's that for the internet, and transmission is your torrent download. Under Office, you have the full Libre Suite Office. Under Sound and Video, you have Celluloid, Hypnotics. Now, this is that player that we were talking about where you could watch TV through here, and they already got them propagated here. So if you go, so you want to go to Iceland or Ireland or whatever here, here's some channels that they have playing, and it'll start to stream it here pretty quickly. I don't necessarily know that I want to do that because, yeah. Oh shoot. See, I don't want to do that because, but as you can see, it's streaming. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to close out of that right now because I don't want to violate, any, copyright infringement on YouTube. So there's that. But that's how that works. Also, if you go into the settings, you can input the I.P.T.V provider credentials that you need to log in if you actually have those kind of services. Rhythmbox is your media player for MP3s for music. CD, you put it in. If you have an actual computer that actually does CD, I don't think they make those anymore. Goodness. But anyhow, you can put your CD in there and play it, and it'll show you the disc and all that good stuff. Otherwise, it'll be MP3s that you download or what have you. So, but it's just like any other media player on Windows. It would be Windows Media Player, right? For administration, of course, these are all your administrative tools that require what's known as elevated privileges, administrative privileges, like your disk usage analyzer, your driver manager, your login viewer, window thing, power statistics, printers, software manager, software sources, Synaptic Package Manager, which those are a little bit more technical, but Timeshift is one that I'd like you to understand. This is kind of like when you open it, okay, you got to give it your elevated password, which is the one that you created at startup, which is your 1234 in this situation. You can do rsync or BTRFS, and what it does is it creates snapshots. And with snapshots, it's kind of like your system restore point in Windows. Literally is what it's comparable to. And it will create them. However, with Snapper installed and rsync, what it'll do is you can actually boot into, with the live CD, go to Timeshift, you can select it, and it'll run it right onto your computer, and you can restore your system very nice. So keep that bootable USB drive around, that live USB drive that you created, keep that around to help you to restore things if you need to. So, but Timeshift is something that's very important for you guys to know about because, like I said, it can save you from a lot of heartache. And of course, you got your update manager and your user group. Under preferences, this is, of course, where you can set a lot of your preferences. Color. Now, color is for your monitor for calibration. I'm not going to worry about it, but I'm just going to show you can actually set your color for your monitor. You can calibrate date and time, desklets, applets, backgrounds, Bluetooth manager. Like I said, man, it's loaded from the get-go. Under effects, I do believe these are the compositing effects where you can do for dialogues, Windows effects, those kind of things. Closing effects is traditional versus fly away. So like when I close this window, watch it, it'll fly away. So just whoop. I mean, you could do all kinds of cool things with those things under preferences. Places, of course, this is basically your file manager right here, just right here on your startup manager. So, and then over here on the left on the same panel that we were on, this, you got your startup application over here, and you got your pinned ones next to it. On the far left, here's your some notification center, right? Like your connectivity status, your clipboard. You got the update manager showing there's 2 updates available right now. Your uh, some system reports require your attention. So if you click on that, it's going to tell you um, what reports are running. Everything's good. Crash report, pay spin when seeking help. Da, da, da. Okay, whatever. We're not going to worry about it. And then, of course, you have your calendar over here, which is, I believe, interactive. If you click on it, you might be able to add it. Oh, no, you click here to add an event, maybe. Yep, it'll open up your calendar. So, yeah, it is kind of interactive. Okay. And then, of course, right here, you've got your music. When I launched Amrock, or whatchamacallit, it went right here. And so it minimized to the tray. So there, it'll tell you what's playing. And so that is a look at Linux Mint 21.3 Virginia for those of you who might be considering getting into the Linux ecosystem and leaving Windows. I mean, when you build a beautiful computer or buy a beautiful computer, why would you want to put that bloated telemetry sucking succubus known as Windows on there? I mean, make it your computer. That's what Linux gives you, is a freedom to have your software, your computer the way you want it. You enjoy your freedom, you enjoy your security, you enjoy you owning your own software and being able to choose what you can and can't do with it. Hey, Linux is for you. So, guys, I hope this helps you make the switch from Windows to Linux and start playing in a very fun world that is great and easy to understand. And the community helps you out a lot. Don't forget, if you need help, you can always find us in the Discord, the TLT Discord. Link is in the description down below. Y'all keep doing what you do. Keep on listening. Stay blessed. Stay safe. And above all, I will see you in the very next one. Make that switch to Linux. Stop being afraid. You ain't got to be scared.